got it.
Have you ever thought about hiring a property manager in your town to take care of your rental property? Well, they're not all created equal, I promise you, because I have been through several and I have clients that have had horror stories and nightmares, which is why today's video, we're going to be talking with, in my opinion, one of the best property managers in the business. Lakeisha Kirkendall, she manages over 200 doors, and she's going to train us, including me, how to locate, how to hire the best property manager for you. And further, we're going to give you a form, a questionnaire, an assessment when you sit down with these people, because these people can make your life wonderful. Or I'm telling you, I've seen stories where they've made people's lives miserable. And that is what we want to train you on today. My friend Lakeisha Kirkendall. Hey,
Hello there. How are you?
good to see you.
You as well, always.
Lakeisha, I'm sure you were doing a million things before you just flew in here and jumped on the camera. What you doing today?
I just walked in. We did an eviction. You came with me on my eviction a couple of days ago. It was a Friday, I think.
Got an eviction.
Yeah, we had a sheriff removal, so I was going in there checking some painting work that was being done, making sure I was satisfied before they get done. I don't want you to get done and we have any misunderstandings. So I like to pop in and say, "Hey, you weren't forgetting about this spot, were you?" Um, but I always think if you address something before it's done, you don't have an issue when it's done because you knew what my expectations were. You knew at some point I wasn't happy. You knew what to do to make me happy. When we done with a finished product that everybody's happy with.
No doubt. I'm telling you, that is so cool that you do that. Not all property managers are going to do that. I'm telling you from personal experience. So Lakeisha is extremely mild when it comes to she knows. I mean, she's a master at her craft, so we're going to keep her there. Look, real fast. This channel is this broadcast is sponsored by PropStream. If you need a software, and I don't know how you can't be in this business without a software that can pull mortgage data, so you know how much people own. Just go to Chris Property Data right over there. I'm telling you, this is what I use to flip properties. I pull comps. We do skip tracing. I see what are the properties to sell them for, who lives in the neighborhood, bankruptcy filings, HOA judgments, all that stuff is right there. Chris Property Data. Get your software if you don't have one, because you got to have some software to be able to make it in this business today. So, Lakeisha, we got our questionnaire we're going to be going over. First of all, how is it important? Just talk about the mindset when we're going out to interview these property management companies.
So I think what's important is not every property management company is going to be good for every individual because we're
Mm,
just not all made the same. So you always want to, if you can, get recommendations, from people who are using them and see what it is they like about them. And if it's something that they don't like, find out what that is. So let's say it's a company, it's a property management company, but you don't talk to the same person. Maybe they have multiple staff that help you with your concerns or your properties. And maybe you don't like that. Maybe you only want to talk to the same one person every time you call.
mhm.
Understand if that's something, because a lot of companies, because you don't have one person doing one thing, you have multiple people. So at my business, anybody that answers the phone is qualified to assist you. So you don't need that one person, because if that one person is on a call, if that one person is out to lunch, I don't think business should stop while you're waiting for that one person. So that's why we have everybody qualified who answers the phone. But if for you, you just don't like that in the way that you do business, then okay, maybe that company isn't for you. So I do have people who are insinuating they only want to speak with me when they call.
The boss.
It's not going to happen. So I don't even want to have you believe that it's going to happen. Now, if
Mm,
you need me for something, by all means, they're going to tell me you need me. I'm going to get on it to see what you need. You need a copy of your lease. I'm at the red light. I can't help you with that. But the person who answered that phone can hit the button and send you the lease.
hmm.
You want to know when was the last time your tenant paid? The person who picked up that phone can pull up that account and tell you when was the last payment. So that's how my operation works. But that doesn't mean it's for you, because if you need to talk to the same person every single time, I'm sure you do it when you go in Macy's, right? You only talk to that one person in Macy's, right? No, but
Mm.
if that's what your world says you need, then that's what you need. then you find someone to fit your needs. So that's the first thing. And it's real important that you find someone to fit your needs. So that's why I say when you get your recommendations for your friends, well, they say this is a good company, but what's good about them? And then what's not good? And then analyze what you would be looking for. Now, if you're a new landlord, you might not really know what you need. You might not really know what you're looking for. So hopefully today with some of our questions on our questionnaire form, we can help you kind of hone in on what you might like.
That's true. That's a good point because everybody has different tastes, different likes, like a different. Yeah, because some people. That is so interesting. Some people do want to go to the small house where they're going to talk to the one person and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." That's not to say that it's right or wrong. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a right or wrong. It's just a preference.
So maybe I was so trying to toy with this title today. It might need to be find the right property manager, Lakeisha. Because I mean, not some what's best for me might not be best for you.
Right.
It's not like a tenant where we know they're going to compare. We want that person to kind of fit. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, no, I think that's really important because you have to see what's going to meet your needs. Like you may want a weekly update on what's going on with your property. You need to find someone who has that set up because that's not going to be what you find out here with the average property management company. I don't give weekly updates. I let my clients know if we're new and we just put your property on the market and we want to know what's going on with the property. Are we getting any visits? Or is anyone interested? We have a weekly sheet that goes out and it's a interaction sheet. So we track how many people inquired about the property, how many people scheduled an appointment to see it, how many people actually made that appointment. So you will get that weekly from us, but not necessarily a phone call. Well, you're not getting a phone call from us regarding that, but you will get that sheet. I like to be honest.
We know that. We know.
Not what yeah, I know that's what I do. I tell the truth. But what we will do is every time you get an application on your property, you will get an email from us, and it's from an individual. It's not automatic. And that email is going to tell you, hey, we just got an application. So sometimes you might get 3 emails in the same day. That means you got 3 applications that day. Within the next 2 to 3 days, you're going to know if anyone was chosen out of that bunch. And we're going to tell you, unfortunately, we were not able to approve. Hey, we have an approval for you. So you are updated in that manner. So it's not an everyday thing. It's when it makes sense for us to tell you. But at least with this, there's activity. So let's say it's been 30 days and your unit hasn't been rented. You're not wondering, well, did anybody even look at my unit? You know that part. You even know that you had applications. Unfortunately, they weren't qualified. So we weren't able to select them.
So if you look in the video description, guys, you can download for free Lakeisha's property management questionnaire. So when you go in, we want to take all the question marks, all the obscurity, all the unknowns out of you hiring these people. Okay. So this questionnaire is going to give you a step-by-step exactly how Lakeisha does it. So you guys can follow along. Just download it. Look right below. Instagram homies, I'll put it in the chat there so you can download it too. And it's pretty, Lakeisha, I kind of modified it. I put some blanks over there so they can take notes while they're asking the questions to the people there.
Okay.
And put where you guys are. Who's on the room in the chat, y'all? Where y'all coming in from? Put your state or your city, please. I want to know where you guys at. Please let me know where y'all at. The link isn't active. Uh-oh. Did I mess something up? Hold on, Lakeisha, did I?
Okay.
Yeah, Lee. Sorry, y'all. Give me a second. Did I mess it up? Link ain't active. Miami in the building. I'm doing my best. Let's see here. Let me do this there. Oh, it's on. I don't know what happened. It's good now. I don't know who missed that, but it's good to go.
So we got a question that came in.
We can get all questions just for our playback. All the questions are coming at the end, Lakeisha. Unless you want to do it now.
Yeah, might as well. Talk about it right now. It's on their mind.
Go ahead.
So someone is asking, do all property managers get paid 10% of the rent, even when there's no tenant placed?
L.A. Wilder. Okay.
Yep. So first of all, the 10% is based on what that company charges. Some may charge more, some may charge less. It just depends. So the 10% is definitely an average rate, but it isn't set in stone. Whether or not they get paid is also based on that company. Some companies, yes. My company, no. I want you to know, if you don't get money, I don't get money. So there, I'm showing you my incentive is not just to take this and make it pretty on my website. I need a tenant in here in order for me to get money. So that's my reasoning behind not charging you. I definitely could, because it is definitely an industry thing where people do. Some don't charge a full rent. They may charge a portion, or they may just charge a flat fee. At this time, I don't have a need to. I feel like I don't have your property sitting long enough for it to be a concern of mine.
Got a good question, L.A. Wilder. Thanks for chatting in. But we're going to get questions. We will. It will be a ton of questions, I'm sure, at the end of this.
Okay.
Please, somebody let me know. I re-uploaded it. You might have to refresh your screen to make sure that the questionnaire is working. But we're going to go down this one by one so you guys can see exactly how it's done. Lakeisha, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away. Hit that like button, too. I don't see nobody hitting the like. Smash that thumbs up down there, guys. Come on. Number 1, property management questionnaire. And don't forget, y'all, this is from A to Z. Some property managers are going to be more effective than others, so you have to kind of determine that with your gut feeling when you go in there. All right, Lakeisha, you want me to read them out, or you got them?
You go for it, Chris.
Letter A, what is your process for eviction? So you're sitting down with this person. Are these in any particular order when you did them?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool. So we're going to go. You can read. Y'all can move them around exactly how much you want to make them fit how you want them to fit. What is your process for evictions?
And the purpose in asking these questions is to see, one, if they're familiar with the answers, if they're comfortable with the answers, do they have a procedure set up? That's what you're really looking to see. It's not necessarily a right or wrong answer.
Okay.
So the process for evictions, if you listen to me talk all the time, I have a certain day of the month that I do late notice. I have a certain day of the month that I send out my notices that, hey, I'm about to file. On the 10th of the month, I'm filing my court. So that's my eviction. You see, there's a process every month. This date on the month, this happened. That date on the month, that happened. So you want to see if the company has something set up like that. Ask them the dates. Is it real? Because your dates would make sense to what your procedure is. If I told you I did it on the 15th of the month, why? Why the 15th? I do mine on the 10th, and you guys know I do that because I gave them 5 days and told them that I would. So I'm going to stick to my word. In 5 days, I am. Mm-hmm. So that's my procedure. So that's what you're looking for, is to see what property managers have set up.
So you want to see, that's the purpose of that particular question, or is that's the purpose of the questionnaire in general?
Well, the questionnaire in general, definitely.
Okay. So what is your process for evictions? Tell us where your mindset is at when you ask that question.
Well, from not me, but from a landlord, you want to know what they're going to do for you.
Okay.
How are they going to help you with getting this tenant out of your property? Is that something that they do? Some property managers, I'm going to say the majority, honestly, of property managers don't actually go to court. They send an attorney to court.
Talk about that.
That's the next question.
Oh.
Okay. So do the property management go to court, or
who goes to court?
Yeah, okay. Who goes to court? So why does that matter to you? Is because it equates to money. Obviously, if you get an attorney to do anything for you, take a phone call or anything, that's money. Mm-hmm. So if they have an attorney going to court, that means there's going to be an attorney's bill to go with that. Now, the typical...
Hold on, Lakeisha. I've seen a lot of when I go to court, I see them up there at the front. They're standing going whap, whap, going over. I've seen attorneys and property managers.
Right. They both do. But I'm just saying, I think the majority of the companies don't go themselves, because it's every month you got 7 cities to go for. So it could, be time consuming. But, for me on the 10th, I'm ready. I got my court dates ready because it's what I do. It's already built into my schedule. So I go to court. Now, when the attorney goes to court for you, one, they get to go first. So there's, their case is in and out.
You go first too, don't you?
No, I don't. I absolutely do not. Oh, you're in a regular. I got to figure out if it's by the name, or because I need to be at the top. I might have to change the name of the company to start with the letter A. I'm not sure yet, but anyway. I want to be first, but I'm not. I just have to sit there and wait. But anyway,
Explain to our round up family that doesn't understand first, second, whatever. Just kind of, because some people
when you're
may
going
never
into court, when you have an attorney, all the attorneys go first. So if you've got 10 attorneys in court, they're going to go first. And the benefit, because most companies will hire attorneys, the benefit is that the attorney may have 5 different clients. So you got to wait for them to go through all 5, and that's just one attorney. Then when you get to the next attorney, sometimes you have the attorneys in there who are doing garnishments. They may have 20, 30 people. So it's just a waiting game. The reason that I myself like to go to court or my office is because I feel I'm a little bit of a control person, and I feel like I know best. When the attorney is standing there and your tenant is there and they're like, well, I just made a payment this morning. The attorney cannot attest to that. Mm-hmm. The attorney got your record probably a day ago. So they can't attest. I can attest that I looked at this account before I walked into the courtroom and you did not make a payment. And I can show the judge, this is what I printed this morning.
The attorney won't even know that.
He wouldn't know that. So that's a continued case. So I'm there to rebuttal the lies that they try to tell to prolong this. No, you didn't. So I was in court in Suffolk last Tuesday, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And my client only owed, when he originally took him to court, he owed us about $500. By court, the night before, he paid everything except the $100. Okay, we're still going to court. When we get there, now this was a newer judge. I hadn't been before him before. Mm-hmm. He handled the process a lot different. He asked the tenant, did he owe the money? The tenant said, yes, it's only $100. He said, do you agree or disagree that they should have the property?
The tenant?
No. Yeah, this is what the judge asked the tenant.
What?
The tenant said he was a little, not sure. His mom was standing aside of him, helping him with the answers. And his mom says, say no. So he said no. So now I'm looking at the judge like, what are we doing here? He just told you he owed me money. So the judge says, yeah, but he doesn't agree that you guys are entitled to the property. So I kind of leaned back to look at him like, are we serious?
Wow.
And the tenant says, well, I don't really understand. So then I began to speak and I said, well, the judge is asking you, do you still owe me money? He says, yes. I said, you did agree that you owe me $100, right? He says, yes. I look back at the judge and I said, well, Your Honor, he's telling you that he still owes me the money. He said, yeah, but he's not saying that you're entitled to the property. Now, this is very weird. The minute somebody agrees that they owe you money, they should give you possession and set the case for final rent and damages. Then you can dispute what's owed and what's not owed. But as of today, if you owed me $1, I am entitled to my property. So this is the weird stuff that could happen in court. So I lean. So I see now where we're going with this. We're just not having any leadership. I look back at the tenant and his mom is still answering. I say, Your Honor, I only have one tenant in here. If we can just get that tenant to answer these questions, because his mom was forcing him the answers. And I get what she was trying to do. She was trying to do like a little bit of a stall tactic so he didn't get, evicted. But I said to him,
he could still pay though. He could still pay after the day.
Absolutely could. But the difference was this. At the time that you are wasting my time in here and you tell this judge that I am not entitled to my property, we wouldn't have had anything else to talk about. So I asked him in a way that I think he understood. So are you saying, now judge is allowing me to talk to him, so I'm saying to my tenant, are you saying I don't have the right to have my property and you still owe me money? Ooh. And then the tenant heard me and he said, no, she's entitled to it. The judge said, oh, okay. So you said she is entitled? He agreed, yes. And the judge says, you have possession of your property. And I said to him, okay, we can talk outside. So when we went outside, I said to him, because prior to that, I did tell him I was going to court, but I would give him an opportunity to still make his payment. When we got out in the hallway, I said to him, I stand on my word. I will still give you an opportunity to make your payments, put yourself back in good standings. I will even give you a lease renewal once I see you've continued to make your payments on time. Mm-hmm. But I have possession of the property as of last week. So if come December, he does not pay me, then I don't have to go back to court for an unlawful detainer. I now have that already. So there's the difference. But had that gentleman made me waste my time and have to come back, we were not going to have a conversation outside of that court, just so we were clear. That would have been the end of our conversation.
I don't understand how a judge can even ask a tenant, do they have the right? Help me unprocess. Help me unpack that.
That's just that judge. Be prepared to walk in a court and
Twilight
just be prepared. Zone. Yeah, just be prepared. So I know what I am entitled. So I knew where to go with this. But unfortunately, if you are new, you're kind of just sitting there looking like, what are we doing here? Yeah. And it's unfortunate.
Wow. Okay, let's keep going. Guys, make sure you downloaded Lakeisha's property management questionnaire. It's right below in the show notes. We're going to keep going along. Lakeisha, so you got the first thing is the eviction. I think that's the most important. Letter C. Do you do property inspections? And if so, how often?
Yeah, I do them. I can do them random. I can do them quarterly. I can do them every 6 months. The owners do have a option on their property management agreement to say how often they want them done. There is a fee for them, but they can say if it's not selected by the owner, then it's usually yearly. Now, I also, because it's written in my lease that I just need to give you a 24-hour notice before I can do it. Mm-hmm. So if I send an HVAC person to your property and I have a great relationship with my vendors, all of them. So if they get there and they're like, that house is a mess, I'm coming for an inspection. Mm-hmm. I'm just giving you a 24-hour notice and I'm coming for an inspection. Yeah.
I did one today. I thought about you as I was walking through there. That's when I asked you about that cracked tile.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what sparked that. I kind of looked up on my text and I said, did I miss something? What is he talking about? Because yes, and that's why we talked about that when we did our class, and we talked about how do you condition your property for a renter? And I said, I don't like tile. And that's my reason why. Because no, the tile wasn't cracked when I gave you this property. But if I pulled my pot from under the sink and it fell, now what?
Yeah, luckily it was only 4 and I have some spare. So I mean, I'll deal with that after.
The fun part though is getting the damaged ones out without cracking 10 other ones. That's the fun part.
It's gonna be hard. Okay. Letters regarding inspections, Lakeisha, from the landlord side. Mm-hmm. What can you just give us a recommendation what you would like to see for a property manager from a landlord perspective, or is there what's acceptable for you?
I don't know. That question is kind of worded a little interesting.
I'm just saying, because you're on the property manager side, you already know what you're doing.
Right, which is what y'all want them to do, what I'm doing.
What is that once what is it? What is ideal? Can you give us like the ideal scenario?
So when you're going to the property, you're checking everything. You're not there just to see what has this tenant broken. You're there to see the condition of the property. So when I walk up, I'm parked usually always in front of the house.
No, hold on. I'm just saying how often. Right now we're just doing
how often. I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought you were saying what am I looking for?
Oh no.
No, there's how often is the owner's preference. You're usually given a preference from the property management company. Now, nobody is going to anybody's house every 30 days. That's just doesn't make sense. You need a new tenant if that's the issue. Mm-hmm. Quarterly, standard. Hopefully you can move from quarterly to every 6 months.
All right, cool.
That's the goal.
We're happy with that. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all got that. All right, letter C. I'm sorry, that was C. Letter D. Okay. What do you do if repairs are needed after the property inspection?
So we send them a letter, and the letter tells them, hey, you got 21 days to fix these issues, or this is a 30-day notice that you're in violation of your lease, because your lease should say, you have to keep this property clean and clear and good condition and that whole sort of thing. It wasn't like this when I gave it to you. Now, if you have some things that are urgent, so for me, grass, obviously in the summertime, if I come there and your grass is high, you don't get 21 days for your grass. You get about 5 days. Reasoning behind that, the city will come and cut that grass and charge my owner. So I can't allow you to have that leeway. I'm going to give you 5 days and hopefully, within there, we don't meet issues with the city. If it's something where, like, I've been in a property where they had a motorcycle or moped in there with the whole gas thing. You like, sir, you about to burn my house up. You don't get 21 days for that. That needs to be going in 24 hours. So something of danger, you're going to shorten that time. But if it's regular wear and tear, if you destroy my blinds, your tub is dirty, your oven is dirty, you broke the knob off the closet door, those sort of things, you give them 21 days to fix them, show you that they're fixed, or this is a 30-day notice that you're in breach of your lease and we're filing for eviction.
Wow. Whew. Okay. Letter E. How do you handle regular maintenance? And is there an upcharge?
So that's another thing that is kind of standard. Property management companies do charge a upcharge on maintenance. That's very standard across the board. I do not. You said explain. Upcharge meaning if we send a plumber out to your property and the plumbing bill was $200, they may charge anywhere between 10 and 15% on top of that $200 bill, which is because you're paying the bill to the plumber, but the upcharge you're paying to the property management company.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is very standard. Again, something I don't do. I don't need that 15%. I need my maintenance people to give me good numbers. We keep going. It's just easier for me, but it is standard. So I don't want you to necessarily look at a company with a side eye because that's what they do, because that is an industry standard.
Okay. So we're okay with that if they do. That's a personal thing too on the landlord's side.
Absolutely.
All right. That's a lot y'all got to deal with here. So if you're just joining us, we're here with Lakeisha Kirkendall, property manager extraordinaire, manages over 200 doors, and we are going over her property management questionnaire, teaching you how to find the right property manager for your rental property. And you can download her questionnaire in the video description as we go over it right now. All right. Letter F. How is regular maintenance paid for?
So it should be a bill that's issued to the property and then deducted from the rent.
So is that the only option?
They can pay it themselves if they want to put in the money for it. They know that that bill is coming in. The owners can supply that money. I find it's always easier if I don't have to have the owners dig in their pocket. You know, if I can arrange something, hey, we can wait till the next rent come. It's always easier for them that way.
Okay. So is there anything we're leaning towards or against when we're hiring this property manager on this question right here, Lakeisha?
No, not really. What we also do, I guess I should have backtracked that. We usually have an escrow hold, okay?
What's that?
And that's usually at the start of your property where we take X amount of your dollars and we hold that for repairs.
Mm-hmm.
So that can come from the owner putting that money in initially, or like with me, I take it from your first month's rent. And then I hold X amount of dollars to cover the repairs. That's another way for maintenance. A lot of owners, I found, they don't want like any surprises. So they will add additional funds and say, you know, I want you to hold this on top of what you're holding in case any repairs come up.
Got it. Okay. That's pretty sharp. All right. Letter G. How is communication handled with owners and between owners and management?
That depends. I've noticed, because I do have a lot of property management groups that I'm in, people are getting away from taking any phone calls at all. They don't have phone call options. You've got to email them or go through a chat. And you'll see that a lot with customer service kind of throughout. They don't have a phone number anymore.
Nobody want to talk to nobody.
Chat. Yeah, they have a chat box. They have an email that you can send. So that's a lot of the ways in which they communicate. So be ready for that. I do have a telephone number from 9 to 5. You can call the number and you can talk to someone in that office who is able to help you.
So that's going to be once again up to the landlord whether if they don't like the communication, then they make that decision at that time.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. This is great. Letter H. This is good stuff, isn't it? Is there a fee for lease renewal? If so, how much?
So normally, yes, they do charge you when they have to prepare a new lease with that tenant. It's standard. I really don't know what the industry's lease fee is. I mind my business, so I'm sorry, I don't get into that. I don't charge a lease renewal fee.
So some property managers actually are going to have a fee every year on top of the 10%.
Yes, that they renew that lease because they kept that tenant for you. They were able to provide good service, get that tenant to stay. So yes, they charge a fee for that. Very standard. I don't know what the fee amount is though.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that they did that. What do you have a ballpark number? Is it 1 month's rent? Is it $500 or is it from A to Z?
Honestly,
Could be.
Chris, I really don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking somewhere around maybe somewhere probably at a minimum of $300.
Yeah. This lady is so to the grindstone. You don't even. You just.
I know I don't be paying attention to nobody else. I mean, because it's not what I do. It's not what I'm looking to do. So
All
I
right.
just know, and again, in my group, my focus groups that I'm in, they talk about that. But, we don't, it's prohibited to talk fees in those groups. So
I wonder why. I wonder why y'all talking about fees.
it's prohibited to talk fees in any group. So even with real estate agents, when you're talking commissions and things like that, there's some law. It's illegal to do it. So we don't.
Okay. All right. Letter I. How long is the contract?
It usually is 1 year, and then after that, it's month to month, probably with a 30 or a 60-day notice to terminate.
So I want to make sure we understand because we got to make sure you changing hats on this. Not just what you do, but what is acceptable for a landlord. I mean, are they looking for 3 years or what?
Well, here's my thing about any contract that when you're contracting with somebody, if everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, contract or not, people stay in place. When someone starts calling you, asking you when does this contract end, something is not satisfactory somewhere. Okay. That's what I think. So if your lease, my people have been forever. I don't even send out any renewal contracts. Once we've done a year together, if I'm not for you, I thank you for at least attempting to work with me. Mm-hmm. And after that, everybody is free to go at any time they want to.
Okay. Letter J. What happens if a tenant breaks the lease?
So there's penalties. So in your lease, you should identify what happens if they break a lease. There should be penalties. My lease will let them know you are responsible for this lease until I re-rent this property. So what was yesterday? Yesterday was the 20th. Yesterday, I had court in Hampton. I had a young lady who rented a townhouse from me, and she had about 4 more months left before her lease ended. She had some challenges in terms of getting her rent on time. And she said, what she said was, she got a new job. She should be back on track. That didn't happen. She said, call back and said, listen, I'm going to be moving out. I'm going to pay what I owe, but I'm going to be moving out because, my new job just doesn't, is enough pretty much to pay this rent. The reason I'm smiling is because this was a lie, but I didn't know it at the time. So in my head, I said, well, this young lady can't afford to pay this rent. Should I penalize her? She's willing to pack up everything and give me my unit back without any court, or should I just let this be? So, of course, I had a conversation with the owner and we both agreed you were paying late. You can't pay now, but you're willing to get out. We can re-rent this unit within 10, 15 days. We're okay with that. The problem came in when we were waiting for the keys and we didn't get them for a couple of days. And we were like, hey, I thought you were dropping off the keys. She finally said she was coming that evening. She dropped off the keys and I picked up the keys, but I hadn't made it to the unit yet. And my office called and said, hey, she wanted to get something that she left in the unit. And it kind of threw me because I'm like, she just dropped these keys off. What I'm thinking it was at a box in the front of the house. But I said, you know what? Let me stick to what my policy is. Once you turn in your keys, that is it. You do not get to go back into the unit. So I'm saying that as I'm driving, never even open this door to this unit. Every room in this house was full of crap.
Oh, no.
What did you forget? I'm talking the Keurig machine. I'm talking she had her own washer and dryer. I'm talking all of the kids' clothes, the kids' beds.
Oh, my Lord.
So what item did you want me to give you this key to come back and get was like bananas to me. Everything. But I was so furious at the amount of stuff that she left in there when you left on your own accord at your own time. So that was, very annoying, number one. But then in my research, I come to realize I'm a little bit of a private eye on my private time over here. It's kind of what I do. I realized she has the same exact job. She didn't get a new job.
How did you come to that
conclusion? The original company that I qualified under, I know a lot of people that work there. And just in a general conversation, it comes up that she still works there. Really now? So now we're not in an okay situation.
Now we're
You
not
will
cool.
now pay my owner for all of this stuff that we had to do to get all your trash out of here. You will pay my owner for all of the back rent. So now I didn't file what's called an unlawful detainer. You know, I told you guys about how to get them out because she was already out. I filed what was called a warrant in debt, and that just means you owe me money. And that's what we did. And so, yes, I got that judgment for the money she owed my landlord.
That is terrible, Lakeisha.
It is
Just lying.
for no reason.
All right. Maybe she. I'm trying to think. Why was she? She couldn't pay. I don't know. How much was the rent, by the way?
Like $14.50.
That ain't super bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Letter IJK. So we went over what happens if you break the lease. If tenant breaks the lease, is that something that the landlord should get money on? Let's say that lady you talk about did break the lease, correct?
Mm-hmm. So the owner is entitled to the rent for any amount of time that the unit was vacant. So of course I'm working right away to get a new tenant in here, but let's say we've got a month or 2 months down. You owe her for that month or 2 months. And there's some additional fees attached to that. In court, I didn't even go for the additional fees. I just wanted, the rent part and the money for removing all her trash.
Okay.
And then let's not hold on, Chris, before we move on. Let's talk about if the owner wants to break the lease. You too must know this is a legal binding contract, and you can't just say, oh, my family member needs to live in my house and you have to go, because that's not how that works. That is a lease that they have and are entitled to until it ends. You can work some things out with them. You can say to them, I'm having a hardship. I need to move back into my place. I'm willing to pay you, maybe 2 months worth of rent to help you relocate to somewhere else. And if they agree with that, then that's fine, because they know at this point they're going to have to leave at the end of their lease. Mm-hmm. So let's just say their lease is 4 months. Maybe taking your money now could help them go ahead and find something else.
So regarding the owner, the property manager, because this is what we're using. Is there a middle of the road that we want to look for when the tenant breaks the lease? I mean,
what do you mean?
What's acceptable when we're asking these questions? Is that what you just said? Is that what we should be looking for? Like, they're responsible as long as they're gonna go after the tenant.
You're listening the same way you're listening to me explain what it is. You also hear me explain why I do what I do.
Okay.
You're looking for the property management. See, because all of the things that I put into place that we share with you, you're like, why does this lady care about this? Why does this lady care about that? I also explain why I care. How does it affect the business? So when you're talking to the new property management company, kind of like if it's just that's our policy. I don't know. Does that work for you? Is your policy really being looked at, or is it something from 1900 that you've just always been doing? See, mine change. Different things that I do change based on experiences, based on court rulings that I listen to, based on new laws.
I know
they'll change.
They change quick, don't they?
They do.
All right, letter K. What if I want to move back in? Oh, we did that. We already went. Letter L. You covered both of those. Who does landscaping while the tenant is in my unit?
So the tenant. Yeah, the tenant should be responsible. So your property management company should have a lease that makes the tenant responsible. Okay. Now, the only time that might differ is if you have a multi-unit. When you have a duplex, I usually have my owners cover that expense, just incorporated in the rent, because it's hard to get one person does the right side of the lawn, the other tenant does the left. If it's a front and back situation, it's not a good even way to do it. So I let my landlords do it and have them included in the rent.
That ain't gonna happen. Yeah, that's nasty. Letter M. Do I have to accept pets or service animals in my unit?
Pets? No. You can say you want to rent your unit and no pets allowed. That no does not carry over to a service or comfort animal. Those are protected animals, and you cannot treat them as a pet. Meaning, if this person meets all of your criteria, but the only reason you don't want them is because they have a service animal, you can't say no to that. You also cannot charge that service or comfort animal a security deposit or a pet rent. So you need to understand and know those differences.
Does a service animal apply to any species,
It
Lakeisha?
does. It does.
Wow.
So the
So you
guinea
could
pig
actually have a
can.
chicken or whatever. You
Yeah.
could. That is so
You would
interesting.
then have to battle. I know one time there was a court case where I think somebody had a pony as a service animal.
Wow.
And the whole battle was that animal was too big to be in whatever,
Yeah.
place that they were trying to have it. So
Mhm.
it was a legal battle.
That's crazy.
Hmm.
Okay. Letter N. Does management have in-house maintenance? That's a big
Hmm.
one.
So I don't have in-house maintenance. I have vendors that I contract with. A lot of companies do have in-house vendors, kind of like no necessarily good or bad. Some people say, it's good because they're right there. Other people say they don't do crap because they're right there. If they're getting paid by the hour, why really fix your sink when, they're going to get paid regardless if they do it right. With
No
my
doubt.
vendors, if they go somewhere and they do a service call, like toilet was clogged, we're checking with the tenant the next day. Hey, toilet working okay? Because they're not getting their check unless I know that job was completed. If it's somebody that works for the company, they're automatically paid. And now, do your property still have recurring things? So it's a question. I don't know how much weight it should weigh on your decision, but maybe you
You
want to
need
know.
to know. You still want to know. And finally, letter O. Will management provide staff in the building? So this is for multifamily,
Multi
correct?
units, yeah. So we had a good conversation about this, and there's definitely mixed feelings on it. I know some property owners who have multi units, like the apartment buildings and things like that. They want in house staffing for their residents. So when I did have multifamily, I did have that at one point. I did not find it to be useful. I found that the tenants were just kind of shooting the breeze, holding up my employees' time.
Hmm.
Because everything that we do online. You pay your rent online, you put your work order in online, you can take a picture of anything broke in your house and send it to us via text. So you don't need to walk down to the office to speak to anybody. We also have a phone line. Again, we take phone calls for our tenants so they can call us. So I don't see the need. I actually saw it to be less effective having somebody sit on location because
Just
everything
hanging out.
you can do from your living room. Other people feel like it's more attractive. They feel like, hey, they'll be here to get up and show my rental any spare of the moment. It's not enough structure for me. I like structure. I want to know when you're coming, what time, what day, so I'm prepared for you. I just like structure. I don't like the pop in. It doesn't seem like we get work done when there's just people popping in to talk to us. People say all the time, well, I want to come down there and talk to you. Is there something that we might be able to discuss now since you have my attention on the line? Because why are you coming to sit here? Now, I definitely understand people want that face-to-face interaction. I get that. But we're talking time and we're talking effectiveness. I can do for you anything you want me to do over this phone line. But if you choose to come to my office, then you're going to drive to my location. So hopefully you're not just driving over here for nothing. You're not driving over here to see how I'm doing. If you're coming, it's because you need something, and that's fine. But I just feel like in-house staff is not necessary. Some people do, and that is just a personal preference.
Lakeisha, you are a mess. We got a question here on Instagram. Rewap Capital says, "How do you manage garbage and recycle bin removal in the multi-unit?" That might be a question. Did we put that on there?
Mm-mm.
That'd be a good question to
I
ask.
mean, well, when I had my multi-unit, we had those separate, and it's kind of that thing where if you see people dumping, or even with bulk items, we had security cameras out there so we can see them. But without having some type of view on it, it's going to be hard to say who put what where.
Well, let's add that. Well, we need to find out. Does the property management company usually deal with that, or is that something that the owner deals with? I don't know.
Well, no, well, it's a combination of both because if there's any fines or citations for having, the wrong thing in there, then
Mhm.
that would kick back to the owner. But in turn, they're going to kick back for us to have a solution for that. But
Okay.
normally it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like you groom the people. And
Mhm.
so of course, people going to tell, like, hey, because you're going to send out notices. Listen, we had a problem. Please don't put the trash here. Please understand it's $100 fine going forward. And then from there, you should be able to work your relationships that you have. Like I keep good relationships.
Yeah.
I go knock on the door. Mrs. Thomas, I need help. Can you tell me who keep throwing this thing over here since your unit is right in front of this trash? I don't, just real quiet. Tell me real quick who it was. And then I know, and once they get that $100 fine, it just never happens again. It's about
Mm.
building relationships. And yeah, I mean, trash never was a big issue for us. Like I said, with the bulk, because you call a person, hey, I know you were getting some new furniture. I also noticed some of your old one, was outside. Were you coming to pick that up? Because we didn't want to have to issue any kind of fines. Oh, yeah. My brother said he was coming by with his truck. I just sat it out there until he comes. Wonderful. They really do take it away, though.
Wow, wasn't that good stuff, y'all? So we're gonna do very fast Q&A to get her out of here. Thank you, Lakeisha, for taking the time out to do this. Miami Property says, I take social. Oh, that's not a question. Make sure. How do you make sure it's correct, belongs to the right? How do you verify social security number, Lakeisha?
So when we do our search, we put it in. It'll usually come back up if it's not a match in our screening system that we use. I don't know, like by you as an individual looking at it. I mean, outside of you could ask to view it, like to make sure their name is on it.
Or you can ask for the social security card.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To actually view it.
View it. Yeah, you could. Yeah. Future landlord, Ivan. Good. Do we do one-on-one coaching? Yes. Just send an email to just go to my website and send us an email. We did that. You did that one. Lakeisha, everybody wants to know. Do you manage property outside of Virginia?
I do not. I am Virginia based.
We're going to get Lakeisha. Y'all keep working on me. We're going to get her. We're going to get her, y'all. Ivy, do you have information on how to properly manage our property manager? This is the question they're here for.
So let me say this, Ivy. If you feel you need to manage your property manager, I'm going to make a suggestion that might not be the right property manager for you. There is no way you should be having.
Everybody's not Lakeisha Kirkendall. I'm telling you.
No. It doesn't have to be me, but it should be effective enough where you should have a rapport with them where they're doing a good job. Of course, check up on your properties, make some phone calls. But when you say manage a property manager, that sounds like a full-time job. And I feel like if that's the case, that's not the person, because it will be something similar to, I think we talked about this earlier, where I like if somebody makes a mistake, I like to know if it was a mistake or was it malice. So for instance, if your property manager sends you an invoice for some bills, right? And they put up there $72, but they put it up there twice, maybe 2 different days, maybe one day behind each other, right? So you have a monthly statement. You were charged $72 on the 11th and $72 on the 12th. Okay. You call them. Hey, what happened? Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. It looks like that was keyed in twice. Somebody went into the books on one day. Somebody went back in. That makes sense. That's an error, right? You charge me $200 for some new carpeting and I happen to go to my unit and there's no new carpeting on my floor. You are a thief. There's no mistake with that. So there's a difference, and you need to identify that, because the first time that you show me you are untrustworthy, we don't work together anymore.
That's what I'm used to.
We can make mistakes because we're going to make them all day. And what I tell my office when we do weekly training and I show them things, listen, make sure when you send an owner this, you send them this to go with it. Don't let them ask you for a bill. It goes with it. Why? What if somebody's not comfortable asking you for a bill, but they're wondering, was that really that amount? Now inside they're feeling uncomfortable. No, my clients won't feel uncomfortable because it's there for them. You don't even have to ask me. So if by chance you didn't get something, the first thing you're going to say is, oh, that was just an oversight. Somebody forgot to put that in. You're not going to think somebody's trying to hide something because we built that relationship. I just don't do that. And I do that by showing you every month what I need to show you up front. You get a statement. Everything is line for line on that statement. A copy of the actual bill is with that statement. So if you want to call ABC Plumbing and say, well, why in the world was such and such this amount? Well, that's what we charge. We charge this amount per hour. We charge this amount for materials. You're talking directly to the company. Has nothing to do with me. And I don't even know that you called the company because I gave you the receipt to do as you
You're
want.
out of it.
Right.
You're done with it at that time. I think we went over that filing and eviction. Just rewind the tape there. We did go over the eviction part. Miami, does the default judgment include rent owed? Or would that be a separate continuation for the rent owed, Lakeisha?
Okay, it depends. If you go in there and everything is as of that day. So when you fill out your court paperwork, your unlawful detainer, you're going to put as of the day that you're filling out this paperwork, how much money do they owe you? The new court forms also make you put out the amount that they would owe you as of the date of court that you're going to. Because I'm filling out the papers here today on November 21st. Let's just say I'm not getting in court until December 21st. On that court paperwork, I'm telling the court as of December, this is how much they're going to owe me. So I've calculated their late fees, what their new rent would be. So that's what you're calculating. Now, you also have an option when you get in front of that judge. You can say, I want this amount of money that they owe me, which is what I put on the paper, and I want my property. And you guys can be done. Understanding you're probably not going to get in your property for another 2 to 3 weeks. So technically, they still owe you some more money. So the way that you could get all of it at one time, as far as this judgment, you can say to the judge, I would like possession today, and I would like to come back in 90 days for final rent and damages. Then that way you've gotten them out of your property. You can go inside and see what damage they've caused, and you can calculate the exact day of rent they owe you up until that sheriff got there.
Let me take this off here. Pin comment. How you looking on time, Lakeisha? It's almost 4.
I'm good.
That's something. How do you go after a tenant when they have nothing? What are you?
Miami. Who is that question from? That's
Miami said, huh?
How do you? Oh, when they have nothing. Miami, understand your time is valuable. So, and it makes a difference. So let's stay right there, Miami. So if we go to court, let's just say you know that this tenant is no longer working. They've lost their job. Hence probably why they're not paying you rent.
Yeah.
You go to court, you want to cut that right then and there. You want to say what they owe you up until that date. You want your possession, and then you want to be done with that. They'll still have a judgment sitting on there, but if they're an unfortunate person who don't keep their employment, you're probably not going to collect. So you don't want to waste any more of your valuable time.
If you try to get a levy on the bank, you got to pay every bank. Each bank you go to, it costs to collect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me do that. Real quick, what are you looking for with your inspections, Lakeisha? Basic overall upkeep?
Everything, though, not just on the tenant. I'm looking to see if any shingles are missing from the property. When I walk up to the door, is there any rotten wood around your doorway? Are your window sills rotten out, which is going to let water in behind my walls? I'm definitely looking to see if there's any pets that's not supposed to be there. Does it smell like pet? Were y'all in here smoking? Because now one part of this wall is a different color than the other one. I'm looking for everything. I'm opening ovens. Has this oven been cleaned? I'm looking at the drip pans on the stove. Are they disgusting? Because they got to replace those. I'm opening the refrigerator. Did you break any of my drawers and shelves in my refrigerator? They're like $150 to replace at a minimum. So they got to replace them. If I gave you 3 shelves, I need 3 shelves when I come back and look. If not, you got to pay this $150 now and give me a new shelf. Not when you leave and you owe me money now. 21 days now. That's what I'm doing.
I needed Lakeisha. Valerie says, I needed Lakeisha. I could not detect my tenant lies.
Oh, I am a lie detector. So like in my real life, like in my pretend head, Valerie, I'm like a PI. So I'm it. Somebody going to let me on their show to be a PI, or they're going to let me in because I can solve some crimes. I'm telling you,
doing what you do, you almost have to be that.
I do. And you think about it. I teach my office. Like I said, when we do our weekly trainings in our office, I'm teaching them, I don't know, just life stuff, right? I'm telling them, listen, when you're talking to a tenant and something happens, I told one of the ladies that was doing an inspection for me last week, I said, when you're talking to the tenant and you see the towel rack that has broken, look at it. Is it just popped out? Because that could mean the screws were never put into the wall correctly. There wasn't any reinforcement. But is it drugged down where it looked like the kids swung? Because that's kind of fun when you're like a little toddler to swing on the towel rack. However, you guys got to replace this at your own expense. So what do? You ask them when everybody's in there, hey, y'all, what happened to this? Oh, my little brother was swinging on it. Me, little brother, you can't do that. You broke my towel rack. You want to fix it for me? Baby tell me, yeah. Okay, good. Going back in, this baby broke this towel rack and they're going to pay for it. See, when I'm asking them questions, sometimes we talked about this on the rentals, like when we're screening people and something might come up, like let's say you have a common name and I've got 5 Johns and they've got evictions and I've got different apartment complex. I'm not asking John, is this you? I'm asking John, when you were at ABC Rental, what happened with that? Because I noticed that they have that up here. If John doesn't know, John's gonna say, I don't know what I've never rented from them. I don't even know who that is. Or John can say, no, what happened was it was me and my girlfriend, but the lease was hers. So now I know it's you, John. So ask your question with it's already them. Because if you ask me anything that I did not do, I'm telling you I didn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about. But if I did it, well, I don't know. I don't want to talk about that right now. Or, well, it was a little situation. My answer is going to tell you if it was me or not. So you have to ask some questions like that.
Wow. Private eye.
Y'all find me some private eye gigs.
Jim buys houses. If your tenant's job relocates, are they still liable? Do you hold them liable?
Yeah, if they're not military, that's not a reason to get out of the lease. Yeah, but Jim, if they're a good tenant up until that point, you probably can work something out with them. Well, you let them know according to your lease, you're responsible. But if you let me go ahead and start showing this unit while you're in it and I can get it re-rented, it takes a lot of that responsibility off of you. So work it out with them. Or depending on how long you got a lease, like if you only have 2 more months, maybe, and they've been a great tenant up until then, if it's your place, John, see, I'm different because I got to answer to my owners. But if it's yours, maybe that's okay for you 2 months because they've been great to you.
It changes, huh? Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, it's 4 o'clock. We got to get out of here. Listen, download Lakeisha's property management questionnaire in the video description below so you know what questions to ask when you're hiring a property manager. That was the purpose of this training. Lakeisha, I asked her specifically to come on here and do this for me. And Lakeisha, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right. So make sure y'all get ready. We got the Black Friday special coming up in the next few days. You better be on the channel. And I'll put another link if you want to join our email list. I'm going to give you some of this dripping wet, real juicy. So you don't want to miss it, y'all. It's an honor to hang with you. I'll see y'all on the next broadcast. Peace.